Raw and Nerdy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Raw and Nerdy. This is episode number 62. I am Joe the Widget, and I am joined by my fellow amazing co-nerds themselves, starting with Mr. Rook.
So there I was, elbow deep in a monkey's, well, you know.
There's some things you don't need to tell the public. That's one of them.
Wow.
We are joined, as always, by Archon.
What up, everybody? But did the monkey have 4 arms? You won't get that because you haven't played PoE 2 yet. But
I don't even get that, and I do.
I'm not going to play PoE 2 because I don't like those games that much.
You're going to miss out.
So I have a few
That's
things to
okay.
say about PoE 2. Dislikes and likes, but it's more positive than negative, so that's good. A couple announcements really quick. We're continuing our Gaming Through the Ages today. We're going to be hitting up Nintendo. But more importantly, this is the last episode until January 5th. This is the final episode of Season 2 for Raw and Nerdy. We'll be going into Season 3 on January 5th. We're taking our holiday break, officially starting on the 20th.
My co-hosts think they need a holiday break.
Yeah, I know. Between work and, family obligations.
It'd be kind of hard to do this.
I don't have the
show.
second one, so I'm good.
Yeah, well, we're going to be recording our final episode of this year for Starfield Raw on this Thursday on the 19th. So that's technically the end of the start of our vacation.
Jeremy, you have a real knack of just, bringing the sunshine to the show.
I know, doesn't he?
Yes, I do. I try really hard, too.
Everybody come in their Discord and just tell how much you appreciate Mr. Sunshine over here.
Like, I was playing with my cat today. Yeah, I had a cat. It got hit by a car.
Hey,
What the heck, man?
I used to have a cat, and
We revived it,
she was
then
the
dog ate
weirdest
it.
cat. Hey, I had a cat. She was the weirdest cat. She would not let me give her any lovin's, but she followed me everywhere.
I had a cat that did that and talked to me constantly and constantly had to have loving all the time. And if I was laying on the couch, he would bite me until I got to the right position, and he would snuggle up next to me and stay there.
I had a cat that used to sit in the corner and stare at the wall and just meow at the wall. It was, don't know what was wrong with that cat. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I've seen a couple of mentally unstable cats. It's quite funny. Not as funny as mentally unstable dogs.
weeks. We got to
Yeah.
get to our weeks.
Let's get under weeks. We have a big talk to go into with Nintendo, and we're going to talk a little
Yeah.
bit about the Video Game Awards, and that's pretty much going to be our show today. We've got a lot to go over.
I'll go first because y'all tie in together on y'all's week.
Yeah, one thing, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, unlike them, I don't like action RPGs that much. So, I went and I had this on my wish list on Steam for a while, but I went and bought Icarus. It's a survival game. It's pretty fun. I'm on a solo server. I'm not playing with other people right now. So, but it's just like any other survival game. But I enjoy it. The graphics are good. The way
Yeah.
they did the skill tree is actually pretty good.
I was watching you play it a little bit the other night. It looked interesting.
Yeah. So the premise behind it is you're from a space station orbiting this planet called Icarus, and you launch down and try surviving on the planet.
Why?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
We don't know why.
I'm not 100% sure why. They don't really make it clear in the very beginning of the game, and I haven't really paid attention to what the tutorials were saying. But there is a mode that you can play. Right now, I'm doing open world survival. There's another mode where it's a finite length of time, and it actually has missions and stuff you can go do. So it's the quote-unquote story mode to the game. I haven't played that one yet, so I haven't gotten the story as to why people are doing that.
Okay.
Got back into flight simulators. Got annoyed because I approached an airport, and they would not vector me in. Approach would not vector me in to the runway so I can get into final and switch to the tower. So I got annoyed and turned it off.
The runway was
Right.
occupied. Come on.
Yeah, I was there for that. I listened to him do it.
Yeah,
He was quite
actually, DFW was occupied. The airport I was trying to land at, nobody flying around it.
Yeah. It was
Which one are you playing? Fights Simulator 10?
2020.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting back into DCS because that has my favorite jet, and I have the what's that thing called? The Super Carrier pack. So I want to see if I can actually have the people on the deck telling me what to do. I also doing that, and from posts on Facebook on the Elite Dangerous Facebook group I'm in, I've been thinking about getting back into Elite Dangerous because while they have only one alien bug race in this entire game, they're attacking the soul system, so I might jump in and see if I can assist. And then finally, played my Pathfinder 2 character, and I like the way I made the character. I like his backstory that I fleshed out so far, but my dice apparently don't like this character.
Welcome
Is
to my
this your
world.
weird? Is this your weird like samurai dragon?
My
type
anime sword fighter dragon, yes.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
No
Okay.
wonder the dice don't like it. They're like sitting there going, "What are you thinking?"
Hey, he's not an overpowered character, so. But he runs around with a katana and 2 wakasashis, so. And
Hey.
he's a monk.
Okay.
And
Okay.
because the
that
monastery
works.
he trained at, the wakizashi and katana were monastery monastic weapons. He actually can use his fury of blows with them, which is fun to do. And the way they do Pathfinder Second Edition. So Pathfinder Second Edition, for those of you who don't know, came about because of the OGL issue with Wizard. So they've changed up how they build their character. It's no longer you roll dice or you have a point buy system. It is literally you have your stats. You will get everything is quote unquote a 10 across the board, and you will get a boost to your stat. The way they do this is it's a +1, +2, +3. It is actually what it would be if you had a 12 to 13. 12 to 13 is +1, 14, 15 is +2. It's the bonus to the stats is what you actually see. You don't actually see your stats. It's actually a good way of doing it, in my opinion. I kind of like it. There are some differences that they had to do that they wanted to make sure their system could not be caught up in any OGL issues in the future.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's been my week.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, guys? I played EverQuest.
There's a shocker.
It ain't so.
I actually didn't
Really?
do a whole lot on EverQuest this week. I worked like 60 hours this week, so I didn't really get a whole lot of time to play EverQuest. And after that first initial push that was really hard, like my whole guild just kind of took a week off to we have to let all of our cooldowns reset and everything before we can go back into dungeons. So all of our raiding and stuff starts back up Monday night. So we all just kind of took a little break anyway. I did duo one raid boss with another guy in my guild, which was it's kind of funny that there's a raid boss you can duo. He's like a caster kind of, and if you can get him slowed, then you can easily heal faster than he could do damage. So you just sit there and beat on him for 20 minutes till he dies. But we hit a insanely good loot pool and got we got 6 pieces of really good gear that sells for a ton, and it was just the 2 of us, so we just split it 3 pieces each, and we already agreed, me and this guy, we're like, hey, let's do this every week on cooldown. Let's just do it and try and farm as much as we can. But the main reason I didn't play a lot of EverQuest is because I bought PoE 2. I bought it.
What is PoE?
Path of Exiles 2. Sorry, yeah. For those that aren't in the know, Path of Exiles 2. It came out last week, and I bought it, I would say, I think it was Saturday. And then, or no, it was earlier. Anyway, I bought it, and then on Friday, one of my friends messaged me, and he's like, yeah, I bought Path of Exiles 2. You should play it. It's really cool. I really like it. And I was like, yeah, I did buy it. I just haven't had a chance to play it. And then, less than an hour later, Widget messaged me, and he's like, dude, I got PoE 2, and I've been playing it. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to play it.
The stars were aligning. You had to.
So I jumped in it, and I started playing it, and oh boy, what a mistake. I am addicted to that game already. It is everything. Okay, so they released it in early release, so it's not even the full game. It's just, a taste. There's 3 acts in the game. There's going to be 6 total when the game launches. There's, I think it's 6 or 6 different classes you can play with 2 ascendancies for each class. But when the game actually releases, I think they said there's 12 different classes with 3 different ascendancies.
I don't know
So
how
you
they
can
would
actually
do that unless they made that guild, that hanging place a lot bigger. Hangman's news.
I don't know, but there's gonna be 12 different classes.
Well, how you started
And,
that game is very interesting. It kind of sets the tone of it. When you go to character
Yeah.
select, they're all hanging or getting ready to be hanged. And when you pick your character, it's the only one that breaks free, and the rest die.
Yeah, the rest get hung. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I started playing it, and it's already in its early release better than Diablo 4 ever could be.
I will have to agree with you on that.
They have. It's the first ARPG game that they actually put. You get to right from the beginning. The first thing you do is you choose your controls. You can either point to click like you would in Diablo, or they give you the option to play it with the WASD keys.
And there's also an option
Oh
to do
my
WASD
gosh!
plus mouse, which is different.
What do you mean?
If you
That's the way
go
I.
if you go to the in your controls options after you've selected WASD, you can actually have it go plus mouse as well, and it changes it up even more. It's weird. I just stuck with the WASD because it's better.
Huh. That's the way I play. I play WASD and then I use my mouse for like my skills and all
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of
but
stuff.
there's another option that actually allows you to do some movement with your mouse too.
Huh. I didn't know that, but yeah, I switched it to the WASD and it's such a huge quality of life change and it's so
Agreed.
much easier to
One of the
control.
first things I complained about Diablo 4 was the fact that it was the way the mouse control was.
Yeah, you don't misclick. You can move where you want to move and how you want to move. You can like make your character turn around as you're moving, and it's just so much more fluid to cast spells and stuff on the move, and it's so nice. And the graphics are just,
They're okay. They're pretty good. I mean,
it is
they're not
beautiful.
they're not as good as they're gonna be when they do full release because that's when they're gonna actually optimize and they're gonna
Right.
get better than just high quality. Because I read somewhere
Yeah,
that
I
they're gonna
don't-
have an ultra quality eventually, but that's not built in yet.
but they're still just as good, if not better, than Diablo 4.
I would say just as good, yeah.
Some of the events and stuff like, but the caveat to this game is you have to have patience.
It's
Because
very difficult.
It is it's like if you were to take Diablo and mix it with a Souls game. Like some of the bosses, you will beat your head on for hours.
I was on a boss today for 4 hours. I still have not beaten it.
Oh, that was me. I played him for a couple hours last night and then a couple hours this morning before I finally got the muscle memory down to where I could avoid all of his attacks and beat him. Because if you miss one attack, dead.
See, that's one of my
You miss-
things. It's a bit of a
Oh.
negative for me. The fact that bosses have a bunch of one shot, and some of them they don't have it to where it's enough of a delay to give you a fair chance at dodging, like the guillotine move.
Yeah. Another thing that this game does differently is anytime you die, it completely resets the map.
Yep.
And one issue I do have, and I think that they probably will end up fixing this, is mobs can spawn far too close to the checkpoints. So you die, and then when you respawn, you're already being attacked.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
a problem.
whoa!
And I ran into the problem where I had a boss that was spawned too close to a checkpoint, so it wouldn't let me respawn to that checkpoint. And threw me across the entire map when the map's already been respawned.
Yeah, then you got to fight your way back, which isn't a terrible thing because if
I just
then
started running.
You got a chance to re-level or to maybe get a level before you get back to that boss.
My
But
monk is level 18. I can't beat this level 15 boss.
oh, I've
been tempted to go back
I
and
think I
level
was-
up another once or twice.
I think I was 18 or 19 when I beat that dude, and it was just like I
I
said,
get him
sheer
down- He's the Act 1 final boss one we're talking about, and I get him down to 20% of his final phase, and I somehow get hit by one of his one shots.
Oh yeah, okay. So once you get him down to about 30-ish%, that's when he starts like he always throughout the fight will like rain down these little white beams. But then once you get him down to like 30%, he rains down white and red beams. The red beams do more damage and they come way faster.
And the one thing
it's so hard.
they need to fix that boss a little bit, because when you get to the final phase, he's doing literally chaining his special abilities, and you have to constantly be dodging him. And a monk, I have to be up next to him to do any damage, so it's really, really hard for me to damage him. So it takes a lot longer.
The game is designed to be tough. The max level is 100, but most people will never get to level 100.
There's
Because
a limit
once you-
of, I think, where it gets too tough on certain things. Like, I applaud the difficulty of this game. I really do. I love it. But there's some instances where it's a little bit too much that they can tone down just a little tiny bit.
I don't know. I think I like it. I like the challenge. I like not being able to just blow through the game. And then once you get through all three acts,
like I
then
said, I
you-
like the challenge of it, but there's a point where it becomes too much and you just quit the game because you're too frustrated with it.
yeah, I don't know.
And they need to be
See,
very, very careful with that fine line.
I've played through the Souls games and Elden Ring and stuff like that, so like I'm used to beating my head on bosses until I want to throw things at walls. I mean, eventually you get it. You get the muscle memory down. I don't know. We could do a whole episode on this game for real.
We've had it so easy in the gaming community these past years. You finally come up against a game with hard bosses, and you're complaining.
No, you're not. You're missing my point.
No, he
I
Yeah, I get
really
what he's saying.
appreciate and I like the hardness of it a lot. Yeah, I don't care if I die 3 or 4 times on a boss, but if I'm dying 30 times and not making any progress on it, it makes me just want to quit.
Yeah.
There's that fine line. A lot of players are the same way. They're just going to want to quit. So just tone it down
I-
a little bit. That's it. Maybe give a half a second between his abilities and the last phase, and there you go. Still very, very, very difficult, but not too difficult where you want to just quit.
I'm gonna move on from PoE just because otherwise we're never gonna get to our Nintendo stuff. So yeah, last thing, I decided to shelf the Way of Kings for right now. It just it's it takes too much of my concentration, and with how busy I am at work, I just can't
I can get
concentrate on
that.
what's going on. There's too much going on, and having never experienced this saga before, like I can't follow it
You need to
while
try
I'm
my
trying to
favorite
work.
book series, man. You got to try the first book.
I might. But I did. I started the Rift War cycle with the Magician, the Apprentice. I've actually read these books before. It's been like 10 years or so since I've read them. So like I kind of have a rough idea of what's going to happen. So that way I don't have to concentrate as hard to follow it. So I don't know. I'm going through this right now. And then what's something about chicken? Is that the
Yeah,
book you
Beware
want
of
me to read?
Chicken.
Beware of Chicken. All right, I might check that one out next,
It's freaking
I have
incredible.
time. Unless I have time to get into the Stormlight saga. But yeah, that was my week.
I'm eager because tomorrow when you guys listen to this, the fourth book of that series comes out. I started re-listening to the books again. I'm back on book 2. It's just too good. I've listened to book 1 4 times and I love it every time. And it's just an amazing series. So the Canadian farmer that decided to try writing did a very good job. And I'm not jealous. You're jealous. But I like Archon here. I played PoE too, and I wasn't as eager about it, but I admit, it is a very good game. I've really, really enjoyed it. I'm playing a monk, but I have had now 9 crashes. It almost happens every time on a boss, whether it be a map boss or an actual boss. I've crashed twice on this boss I'm fighting now. Both times it crashed. I took a break for an hour.
That is really weird. I know you have a really good computer, but I almost feel like it's got to be on your end.
I looked at the
because
boards. I know it's a very, very common issue they're having right now. And then they said they're
I've
working on
crashed-
patching it.
I've crashed one time, and it was right after I zoned. I started walking forward, and the game crashed.
It's a texture
That's
load
the
error
only-
they're having. When you have everything capped out with certain NVIDIA cards, it's been doing a crash.
Sounds like it's an
Weird.
NVIDIA issue then.
It's on their
Yeah.
end. It's on the game itself. It's a texture load problem. And they're aware of it, and they said they're fixing it.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't had that issue.
It causes a RAM failure,
Really?
and the whole thing just goes blunk. Now, I'll hear my character being beat up as the game is frozen, and I can still fight
mine-
without seeing anything, and then it crashes.
Yeah, I've never even had it like freeze. It just like literally the whole game just was. I was at my desktop. I was like, what?
Yeah,
just
it gets a graphic error, freezes for a few seconds, and then crashes with the RAM error.
Weird.
And I looked it up, see if it was something that I could fix on my end, but it's a common issue that a lot of people are having. Like I said, the difficulty in some cases is a little bit too much, but I really applaud the difficulty of the overall game. It's a lot of fun. The constant spawning of bosses, and one thing that drives me nuts is if you get killed after an item is dropped, that item disappears. It no longer exists.
Yep.
And I had a yellow staff from my monk drop once, and I got killed by a mob I didn't see in the back, one-shot me, and I couldn't get it. So, and I beat a boss once who had an AoE still on the ground that I wasn't aware of. Didn't see it, and it wound up killing me right after I killed him, so I lost all the boss loot.
Oh, I had a unique drop for me earlier, and I was talking to Rook when I got it. And hey, one thing I don't like about the uniques in this game is they're great and the stats are really good, but there's always a negative. Like I found this tunic that gave me really good armor, really good evasion, or no, it was really good armor and energy shield, and then it gave me like 15 to all resists and gave me plus 100 spirit and all this good stuff, and then it says you no longer gain any mana benefit from intellect. Well, excuse me? Like,
I
come
beg your
on.
pardon. Now, if you're playing,
People-
that's something that's just built for a non-mana using class. There's like 2 or 3 of them.
But what would you need the spirit and stuff?
Good question. I wonder if it's a
I
random
mean,
generated.
I'm wearing it, and I'm making it work because it made me way stronger, especially the resists and everything. The resists are key in that game. But yeah, crazy.
Like on my monk, I wouldn't really worry about that negative too much, even though I'm a magic user in a fashion. It wouldn't affect my character very much. So one of our listeners, Mossy in Discord, has been trying to get me to watch 8-Bit Christmas for a while, and I broke down and watched it a couple days ago, and it that movie drove me nuts. It's a good movie. It's about kids in the 80s trying to get a Nintendo system, and the moms and dads are all saying that the games are evil and they cause people to get violent, and they try banning it and they can't get the Nintendo, and they get so close to getting it like several times, and it drove me nuts. My anxiety was through the roof watching these kids fail over and over again. It had a really good ending though.
It's kind of like watching little Ralphie try and get his Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The entire dang movie. It was, I felt bad for that kid because I remember how badly I wanted Nintendo. I think it hit home way too much.
Good one to watch right before this episode because
yeah, it's all about Nintendo.
Heck yeah.
And like I said, book 4 of my favorite series is releasing on Tuesday. Can't wait. Of course, I might wait to read it. I already pre-ordered it until I finish re-listening to the other 2 books. And I actually had a very good week. It was a surprisingly good week. I worked my butt off like usual, but I got a promotion on Monday at work.
Nice.
So I'm gonna get a $10,000 a year raise, but I have to move to Riverside, California.
Oh,
which
you wanted to move anyway.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about that. The only thing is if they haven't given me the official confirmation if they're going to pay for my move yet or not. If they don't, that's where I'm going to start to really, really worry. But, it'll work out.
Yeah.
And I'll be making that move in the next month or 2, right after the holidays pretty much.
Good stuff.
That's
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So before we get into Nintendo, this is a Nintendo-related question. Does anybody know what the best Nintendo-related movie is?
Yes, I can't think of the name of it. It was with it featured the Power Glove a lot.
Yup, that's it.
Masters of the Universe.
No. It's called The Wizard.
The Wizard,
No.
Thank you.
Masters of the Universe is the best one.
The Wizard.
The Wizard.
I love that movie growing up so much.
I've seen that one.
Me too. What? That's your homework. You need to go see
It was
to watch The Wizard.
It was starring
it's
Fred
such a good
Savage,
movie.
right?
Yeah, it's Fred Savage, and he has like an autistic brother, and he's taking him trying to take him to California to play in this.
The Wizard.
The Wizard.
Released in 1989, 90, something like that.
80s for sure. But he's trying to bring his kid or his little brother to a Nintendo tournament. Pretty awesome. I love that movie.
Great movie. I forgot all about it till just now too.
And with that,
Nintendo.
let's talk some Nintendo.
It was founded Nintendo as a company was founded in 1889, and it was a trading card company. And then by 1965, they jumped into toys after a whole spiel. And then arcades became a really big thing in video games. They tried to develop their own, wound up making games like Donkey Kong and things like that. They hit the arcades in 1972. And they did that until all the way to 1982, right before the video game crash, which happened between 83 and 85. And they had a prototype for this new gaming system that they were hoping would revolutionize the home gaming genre. And it did.
And it did.
It did big time. So in 1983 and 1985, 97% sales decrease in North America because Atari overflooded the market with cheap, quickly built games. And they released Famicom in Japan, which was released as Nintendo Entertainment System worldwide in 1985, and basically overnight ended the video game famine, the crash. It was a huge success. And in 1988, Nintendo of America released Nintendo Power Magazine, which also became a huge success.
I used to have a subscription to that, and I
did
used to
too.
have.
That's why I put it in there.
I used to have the issue #1 with the Super Mario clay Super Mario cover thing that apparently, if I still had today, would be worth a ton of money.
Yeah, my cousin had that one. He
Y'all
got
remember
that
the,
right after it was released.
Y'all remember the Nintendo helpline?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Where you could call if you got stuck in games. Yeah, for
I
real.
used it, and I got in trouble for using it.
Yeah, because it costs more than you think it does.
Oh, yeah. Just like couldn't be one portion of one game, and I had to call in because I was getting too frustrated. Nintendo Power didn't have anything on it. It was before internet. I couldn't go look it up.
This is back in the day when if you made certain phone calls, it cost you extra money.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently a lot for a 10-minute call.
Yeah.
Because I was a kid, and I was asking him all kinds of questions about all of these different games, and it racked up on the bill. I had to mow lawns for 2 weeks to pay it off. Oops.
Yikes.
It happens.
Yeah. According to many different sources, there's around over 1,300 licensed games that released worldwide, and over 1,000 were released in the U.S. Some say 876, but it just varies. I don't know what the actual number is, but most sources say over 1,000.
There's a lot.
There's a ton. And I owned like 20.
And we tried to narrow it down to 10.
Yep, we have our top 10 list, guys.
I have 5 honorable mentions because it was too hard.
And don't worry, me and Rook don't.
That's okay. You guys just aren't as cool as I am.
Well, who wants to go first on top 10?
Well, let me do my 5 honorable mentions, and then we'll.
Eeny,
if
meeny,
my
miny,
phone
mo.
opens. Okay.
I think these guys won't be surprised on like half of the games I have on here. It might be a little surprised on some.
Honorable mention number 1, Dig Dug 2. We talked about this the other day on the show.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was the last episode with Atari, how they had Dig Dug on there. Well, Dig Dug 2 took it to the next level, and I played the crap out of that game. I played that game a lot.
I played it for a little while.
It's still one of my go-tos. Honorable mention number 2, Blaster Master.
I don't even know that one.
What?
Nope, never heard of it.
It's about a boy who chases a frog down a hole and finds this like high-powered tank. And it's
yeah.
sounds silly, but it is amazing.
One I didn't add to my list was that zombie one. Zombies Ate My Neighbor. Or was that Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo.
Never mind.
That was Super Nintendo. Yeah.
There is a zombie one for...
Not that one.
Not that one, but there is a zombie one.
Honorable mention number 3. This one was very close to making my list. Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2.
Know of it, never played it. My mom and dad would never let me.
What? Oh, because it said Wizards or something?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really have anything to do with Wizards.
No. Don't tell my mom that.
This next one did have everything to do with Wizards, though. It was called Solstice. It was a puzzle game, and it was super fun.
My kids lucked out. I encourage video gaming.
Yeah, me too. My 3-year-old is a master at Astro's Playground. And my last honorable mention was a video game that was made from a movie. It's called Willow.
Oh, I know Willow.
And that was a fantastic video game.
Really, really was.
Fantastic. Loved it. So those are the honorable mentions.
My mom wouldn't let me play that one, the other one you mentioned, but she would let me play Willow. Go figure.
Okay. All the sense was made.
Yeah. All right. Top 10 list.
Dun dun dun.
Rook, you got it.
Rook, we
I have
nominate you
some
as
on my
tribute.
list. That's it.
What?
We nominate you as tribute.
I have some games on my list. That's it.
Well, let's hear what they are.
Let's see
Well,
what,
I'm
let's
gonna
see
do
what you
my
got.
honorable mentions because I got 2.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason why I have 2 honorable mentions is because they're entire series. I couldn't break it down to just 1 or 2 games, so I just did an honorable mention for the entire
I
series.
just want to do a little caveat really quick before you begin. Our top 10 are basically our own personal preferences and the games that we enjoyed the most as a kid. So no other basis other than that, not sales or anything like that.
Yep.
Correct.
So the Dragon Warrior series and the Final Fantasy series are my honorable mentions.
Fair enough. I never played them until Super Nintendo.
Those are very good series. I actually had Dragon Warrior 3 on my list, but I took it off because there was just too many other games. Couldn't.
All right, to my top 10. Number 10, Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Primarily
solid game.
because the one thing I remember all the time is the gold cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I got a
That was
lot to say
iconic.
about that game.
It was iconic.
Number 9, down, sit, hut, 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 hut.
Oh, Famicom. Not
Tecmo?
Famicom. Tecmo, right?
Tecmo
Tecmo Bowl
Bowl,
or Super Tecmo Bowl? Which one?
Both.
Oh, I liked regular Tecmo Bowl better.
It was better in my opinion.
You just
But
couldn't play as Bo Jackson because he was a cheater. He was too fast.
I played that game and I'll just randomly watch football, go down, sit, hut, 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 and start repeating it just like off that game. Number 8, Mortal Kombat.
That was Super
was
Nintendo.
not-
NES is when they first. No, I thought
That
they
was
were
on Sega.
releasing regular.
Sega.
No, I'm thinking Game Boy. All right, so since Mortal Kombat is the wrong system,
I made that mistake just a little bit ago too.
I could have sworn it was, but I'm thinking Game Boy. I figured if they made it for Game Boy, they had to have made it for NES, but I guess not.
No.
In that case, I will just swap that one out with Super Contra.
That works.
Okay. Contra. Super C was a good game.
Yep. Followed that by number 7 is Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, one of the hardest
laugh
games.
about my list, dude.
One of the hardest games ever. Well, one of the hardest games on Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
It was. It drove me nuts.
And then I put Mega Man 4 at number 6. Now, this y'all might not agree with, but Battletoads Double Dragon, that game was awesome in my opinion.
What's also interesting is I never played any of the Mega Mans until Super Nintendo.
I played 4. And
Hold on, did Did somebody mention a Mega Man game? I must have missed it.
Yeah, I said number 6 was Mega Man 4.
Oh, okay. Sorry, missed that.
And then
one.
number 5 is Battletoads Double Dragon.
That was a good game. I like Battletoads and I like Double Dragon, but the combo game was like, I don't know.
Never played it. I know of it. I know it existed. I just never played it.
Number 4, Punch Out.
Okay.
I mean,
If I didn't honorable
Didn't like
mention,
it.
that would have been in there.
Number 3, Contra, the original Contra, with the Konami code.
That game is amazing. With the Konami code. Without the Konami code, it's hard.
Yeah.
Trying to do that with 3 lives is almost like crazy.
Number 2, Metroid. And then
Okay.
number 1, my favorite series for Nintendo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Which version? There was like 3 or
which
4
one?
games that came out.
There were 4 of them that came out. It was the later ones. Can't remember which one I liked more. I want to say 3, because that's when it went from a straight side scroller to more of the angled view. 2 or 3
That
where they
was-
did that.
That was number 2. The turn. Yeah.
There was 2 different
Mortal
versions of
Kombat-
number 2, by the way.
Sorry, Ninja Turtles 2.
They did 2 different versions of it, the arcade version and the non-arcade version. The non-arcade version came out
Yeah.
prior.
Yeah, but 2 is the one I liked. It was another hard game. The
I'm
side
not that
scrollers
surprised by
on the
your list.
NES, the side scrollers in the NES era were tough.
They were.
My list is
They were mostly all side-scroller,
significantly
though.
different than your list. A
Yeah.
lot of them, yeah.
I had 2 that were just flip-flopped on yours.
Nice.
My list is completely different. We had 1 game in common, I think.
Well, you want me to go first or
Yeah.
you want to take it?
I don't care. Either way.
You know, I'm going to do mine because I want to let Rook
Go
hear
for
the flip-flop here. The only racing game I ever loved in any system, Rad Racer, was number 10. Loved it. Played the snot out of that game.
You didn't like RC Pro AM?
Played it, but I wasn't a big fan of it.
Mm.
Never much of a racing game person. Mario Kart, okay, on the other hand, Mario Kart was by far better. But Mario Brothers 2 hit number 9. I beat that
Okay.
game so many times as a kid, it was ridiculous. 8, Ninja Gaiden. It was
Nice.
Rook's number 7. My number 7, Super Contra. Beat that
Interesting.
so many times as a kid. I got so good at that game. Ninja Gaiden, I don't think I ever did beat. I think my cousin and I got
Not
very
many did.
close, but we never beat it. Yeah, it was tough,
I think
man.
I might have. I think I might have beat it, but I'm not sure. I know I beat one of the Ninja Gaidens. I don't know which one it was though.
My top 5 games, I played by far like 10 times more than any other games I've ever played in that era. But my number
Okay.
6 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade version, the arcade game.
Yep.
It was a little bit better than the original version of it, and I loved it. Because I used to play the arcade game religiously. When it came out for the home
Solid choice.
console, I had to have it. Number 5 is the original Super Mario Bros.
Really?
Played the snot out of that game.
I did play that one a lot.
We know what your number 1 game
Well, yeah, even my son guessed it.
is.
He heard our episode of the last time, and he started guessing on my list, and he got a couple of them pretty close. My Super Nintendo, I think he got most of them correct. What's funny is that when we did our original, I think episode 1, our top 10 games of all time, 3 of those in there were Super Nintendo for me. So
Oh yeah.
it's going to be there.
Super Nintendo's gonna be tough.
Number 4, I was obsessed with this game for the very reason of being able to make your own track. So I guess this is a racing game too, Excite Bike.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's a racing game.
And I destroyed that game, and I spent so many hours, countless hours, building my own tracks and playing against my cousin. It was ridiculous. I was obsessed with doing those tracks. 3 was Kung Fu. I loved that game. Beat it several times. Very difficult, but so much fun. I want to play that game again.
Difficult. I've seen people do like 4-minute speed runs.
And it was difficult when you're 10.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Number 2, The Legend of Zelda. I have beaten that game so many times, and I still remember how to get the 200 coins in the beginning of the game to get the blue suit right away to make your game so much better. That one hidden vendor. I remember where that vendor's at.
Right.
Was that?
Yeah. So the blue ring that gives you a little.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin played it over and over again, where he would do the map, I would beat all the bosses. That's how we would do it, because I could beat all the
But-
bosses so much easier than he could.
But did you ever beat the Dark World?
We beat that game to death.
Did you beat the Dark World though?
I don't remember that one. Might have.
If
We
you
beat that game to death.
if at the beginning of the game you enter your name as Link, the whole game changes and it's like 3 times as hard.
I remember that.
And everything's in different places.
Like I said, we beat the snot out of that game.
The map's still the same, but everything's in different places.
It was legendary. And of course, my number one is Super Mario Bros. 3. Never played a game on any Nintendo console more than that one. And I still remember all the secrets.
Y'all notice what was suspiciously absent from my list?
Mario Brothers?
All the Mario games?
Mario Brothers games.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them, but I didn't just play the ton out of them.
So yeah. Kung Fu, Legend of Zelda, and Mario Bros. 3 I played more than anything else. And Excite Bike, by far. What do you got, Mr. Archon?
It's happening again.
Yes, it is.
My list is supremely different than all your guys's. I played a lot of Nintendo when I was a kid. So this list was actually really hard for me. So I chose some of my absolute favorites as a kid. Number 10 was Little Nemo Dream Master.
Oh, I remember that one.
Never played that.
I remember that one.
Loved that game. It was kind of creepy, but it was so much fun, and the game was pretty tough for being based off of like cartoon.
I almost put Kirby in my number 10 instead of Red Racer.
Kirby's a good game too. That did not make my list. My number 9 was a Mega Man title, but it was Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2 is my favorite of the series. At any given time, I have been known to just randomly start humming or whistling some of the like level music from Mega Man 2 just because it's ingrained in my head forever. Number 8, this one might be the game I played probably the most on this entire list. It's a game called Rygar. It was a really fun game. There was the top-down aspect of it, but then there was also a side-scroller aspect of it, depending on where you were in the levels.
How do you spell that? Because that sounds familiar. I don't know.
Rygar. You're a dude walking around. You could jump and stuff, but you had like a shield with a chain attached to it, and you would like throw it and it'd come back to you.
Okay,
That's how you fought enemies, and you can. It's a great game.
Oh, it came out by Tecmo. So
my next one. This is one I used to play a lot with my dad and stuff. Yeah. The next one I played a lot with my dad, so it kind of has a nostalgic memory thing for me. It was called Snake Rattle and Roll. It was
again not one I'm familiar with. Wow.
You like had to like really
and in roll.
Yeah, you like ate these little balls and it would make your snake longer.
I know that game. I did play that one. Man, that just brings back a whole lot of memories.
Yeah, that game was fun. Yeah, I love that game. Number 6, same as herself, Metroid.
Okay.
Metroid I played that one. Pay attention to that one because you'll hear it again on another list because it's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games too. Number 5 was an annoyingly frustrating game that made me beat my head on the wall as a kid and maybe gave me OCD. It was called Marble Madness.
I know Marble Madness. Yes, I can see why it gave you OCD.
My number 4 game, I won't say I'd be surprised if you guys have played this, but it's not like a main game that I would expect you guys to have played. It's called Star Tropics.
That sounds very familiar.
I've heard of it, but I never played it.
It's kind of like a like almost I almost want to say Zelda-esque, but not really Zelda-esque.
I know this game.
You have a yo-yo, like your main weapon's a yo-yo.
I did play this game. I beat it, and I didn't even. So I looked at one of the squid bosses that I remembered so much.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, and they're both phenomenal.
Yeah.
So my number 3 game, no surprise, Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy. I cannot tell you how many times I've beaten the original Final Fantasy game with a different party set up every single time.
I can tell you how much I did. 0.
Really? Oh, it was so good. You can literally like you build your own party how you want it. You could choose a black mage, a fighter, a white mage, and a black belt, or you could choose 4 black belts, or you could do whatever you want. Just choose it like your party and
name them whatever you want. Choose whatever you want.
Yeah, I used to just you can name them whatever you want as long as it was only 4 letters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played it an absolute ton because I wanted to just try all the one time I tried beating it with just 4 white mages. That was
that
hard.
Must have been interesting.
Well, they do have 1 or 2 attack spells, but they're not great. But yeah, it was.
At least you didn't die very often.
No, you definitely had the healing. Number 2, Super Mario Bros. 3.
Mm-hmm.
That one I played a lot with my sister. That game just brings back memories from playing with my sister and my brother.
Next time we're hanging out in person, we need to get one of those Nintendo emulator kits, those little mini Nintendos, and we got to play that together. 2-player, man.
Oh, I have the Super Nintendo. I don't have the regular Nintendo. I got the Super Nintendo though. But yeah, I'm down.
I'm going to
And,
rebuy that Super Nintendo one too because I used to have one and I don't know what happened to it. It's gone.
and my number one game was one of the best RPG-ish type games that.
I was gonna laugh if you said Paperboy.
No, definitely one of the best RPG-ish games ever on the Nintendo system is a game called Crystalis.
I know of it.
I loved that game, and I never ever as a child beat it. And then about 5 or 6 years ago or so, I played it on. It was on the Nintendo Online thing on Switch,
Mm-hmm.
and I played it all the way through and finally beat the game. And it was such a feeling of accomplishment.
My parents would
Beat
not
that
let me
game.
play RPGs. It drove me nuts until Super Nintendo. And even
Well,
then, I had to hide them.
This game, I mean, you did level up in a sense, but I wouldn't really. It's hard to call it an RPG in the traditional sense, but yeah, it was like you had to find these 4 swords, and then you'd get these like upgrades to the swords. There was like a wind sword, a fire sword, a water sword, and what was the other one? Earth sword, obviously.
We might have to do a top 15 in the Super Nintendo list. I think it's going to be too hard for us to narrow down to 10.
No, that's the thing. Top 10. You had to do top 10.
All right, fine. I won't even do honorable mentions. I'll have my top 10. That's it.
Just make 5 honorable mentions. That's what I'm gonna do because there's no way I'm only.
No, I'm not going to do honorable mentions. I'm going to just leave it as my top 10.
Yeah. So yeah, my list was very different from yours. You will notice one thing, like Rook, noticing that he didn't have a Mario game. Even though you've heard me on this show a million times rave about Zelda, I don't have a Zelda game on my list.
One of the video games I was going to put on there was Gauntlet 2, but I didn't do that one.
Is that Nintendo?
Yep.
Gauntlet 2. Oh yeah. Never mind. I'm thinking Gauntlet Legends, which was
I played that one at my cousin's house all the time. Because any game I wasn't allowed to play at home, I went to his house to play.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. We didn't have any Paperboy, Load Runner. There's some other classic ones.
Oh yeah, Load Runner. There was
I didn't really like them.
There was a lot of games as a kid that I wanted to play so badly. I did play the snot out of Paperboy and the original Contra.
I played a lot of the original Contra. That one didn't make my list just because there wasn't space on my list. It was definitely one of my favorite games.
What about the original Rampage?
Who didn't like? I liked it, but I liked it more as like an arcade.
Yeah, it was much better in the arcade than it was on the home console. They
it was better on the later systems. Like
they featured that game on 8-bit Christmas.
Nice.
I think they remade it on like Nintendo 64, and I like that one.
Did any of us have the light gun? I did. Duck
I
Hunt?
did. Of course.
That dog laughing, I'll never get out of my head.
You know what my favorite... This actually... I gotta mention this because this was one of my favorite memories as a kid. Is my sister would be playing Duck Hunt, and I figured out that if you plug in controller 2 and you can move the ducks with controller 2, like you could control the ducks, and I would make her so mad because I would just be flying in so many random directions, and she would miss them, and she would get so mad. And she's like, "What is going on with these stupid ducks?" Oh.
If anyone wants to give me a Christmas present, I want the Nintendo mini system and a Super Nintendo mini system.
I'm actually thinking about buying the what's it called? I forgot what it's called. I talked about it before on the show. The retro system though that has the slots for NES, Super NES, and
the
Genesis.
Retron systems. Yeah, Retrons. Those are good. I used to have one. I actually like. I've seen one on the TikTok shop that it looks like they look like PS5 controllers, but it's like a 4K stick and it plugs into your TV and it plays like everything from like it's got like 100 and something thousand games on it, all the way up through like PS3.
I'm looking at the NES games on Amazon right now. They're all say renewed because obviously some of these games like Mario Brothers 2, $39. Super Mario Brothers 3, $41. Zelda, $59.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the old games like that though, because the original NES cartridges have batteries in them,
That's true.
A lot of them are starting to die.
Yeah, but you can open up the cartridge and replace the battery, and
you can replace the battery.
I can.
Yeah, you can do that if you know what you're doing, but
if you don't know, don't touch it.
Yeah,
because you can easily mess up the chipset.
Right.
Oh yeah, Home Alone.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
They had the original original Donkey Kong arcade
Top
classic.
Gun.
Oh yeah, huh?
Completely forgot about that one.
There's on my top 10. There's gonna be a flying game on that you guys are gonna be surprised about for my Super Nintendo.
Is it Aerobiz?
Nope.
But no, for that would have taken one of my top 10 spots if I will remember Top Gun. It was always hard to land on the carrier.
Do you know what game I absolutely despised because I could not play it? Dr. Mario.
What?
I was too colorblind. I could not match them. That's how we discovered. One of the ways we discovered I was severely colorblind was by the fact I couldn't do stuff like that.
Yeah, none of us had Tetris on the list.
Nope, no Tetris. Even though I did love that game because it was about shapes, not colors.
Yeah, there's another one that you would hate, but it was on Sega called Columns. That was a Tetris type game, but it was colored gems. And yeah, that one's insane. Once you get up into like the high levels, they're falling so fast that you like if you pause the game and walk away for a second, there's no way you're coming back to it because your eyes won't be adapted to how fast it's going. You
guys ever had those games where you were when you played as a kid or even as an adult that you could not be beaten at? I had 2 of those games. And one of them was an NES game I completely forgot about till now. My cousin hated me because no one could beat me on it. Arch Rivals.
Oh, yeah. That game was kind of fun because you could just walk up and punch people.
Exactly. You annoyed the snot out of people.
Yeah, I don't know if I didn't really play a lot of 2-player Nintendo games.
I played a ton of them because of my cousin. And our neighborhood kids. Yeah, it was a big thing.
Did y'all play the Goonies?
Yes. They even had a Goonies 2.
Yep.
Or they had a Goonies. Was that 2 or 3? I just that 2. All right.
Yeah.
Spy Hunter.
Metal Gear Solid was another really good honorable mention there. That was a great game. And Snake's Revenge. Both of them were really good.
I only played those on Game Boy.
Or sorry, Metal Gear. It wasn't Metal Gear Solid yet. It was just Metal Gear.
Yeah, it was just Metal Gear.
I only played those on Game Boy.
You know that Legend of Zelda was actually the second Zelda game?
I did not know that.
Yep, there was one that came out prior to it. It was not a very big success. But when they did The Legend of Zelda, it became a giant success.
I know Zelda 2 was controversial in the Zelda community.
Say the least.
A lot of people either really love it or really don't like it.
Oh, there's a game
I loved it.
Didn't remember. Tecmo Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of like Castlevania 2. That a lot of people really don't like that one, or they really do like that one. Personally, I liked Castlevania 3 the best.
You guys remember Gargoyle's Quest 2?
No.
I've never played that.
That was a good one.
Did I play it? Probably. Do I remember it? No.
Oh, Darkwing Duck.
Either of y'all ever played Maniac Mansion?
No.
Yes. I played it on the PC, though. I didn't play it on Nintendo very much.
I played it on the Nintendo, but of all places I ever played it was always at my orthodontist.
Okay.
My orthodontist had Nintendo consoles in the waiting room, and back in the chairs, they had Sega Game Gears.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. My son's has like a Wii at his dentist's office.
Wii! Wizards and Warriors, Dragons, Ghosts and Goblins.
I loved all 3 of the Wizards and Warriors games.
I do want to get a Switch one of these days.
There was a game I used to play on Nintendo. I tried it, and I played it in the arcade, and I tried it, and I absolutely hated it because I could not last for more than 5 seconds in the game because I could not figure out how to play it. And that was Dragon's Lair. Couldn't figure out how to play it. And then as an adult, I had it a remastered version on like the PS5, and I figured out what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to play it, and then it's like so fun. It's so fun once you know what to do, like actually what you're supposed to do. Like,
do you guys remember the age of the bit where when a new system released and you got to see the doubling of the bit size and you knew it was going to be astronomically more graphical and awesome and amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like the first 16-bit system, the Super NES and stuff like that. Like, oh, mind blown. And there wasn't very many 32 bits. There was like 1 or 2. But then the 64-bit system era hit and all bets were off. And then
I remember.
That's when the whole bit era ended. It now just became PlayStation or, Sega or something like that. Or Nintendo.
PDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I used to be big into Sega, and one of my friends got the 32X, which played 32-bit games, and we were like, whoa.
Well, the next one on January 5th, 2025, we will be going over Super Nintendo. Then after that, we got to discuss it.
I had a question. Should we do Super Nintendo and Sega together, considering they were both like...
No, because Super Nintendo is going to be a huge one.
Yeah, but I mean like 2 separate lists, but kind of do them together because they're like a lot of the games that were on Super Nintendo were also on Sega.
I just feel like there's going to be too much to talk about on Super Nintendo.
What's funny is the games I played on Sega were
Or on
none
Super
of
Nintendo?
no, I didn't play the ones that were on Super Nintendo. I played the sports games on Sega and Sonic on Sega, and then Super Nintendo. I played all the other games.
Huh. Interesting.
Oh, we forgot baseball.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
There's a lot of baseball games.
Where you just keep swinging it while the pitcher's throwing the ball.
One of my favorite ones where you were like these robots and you had special different pitches based on whatever pitcher you have that would like split the ball 5 different ways in a circle. I don't remember the name of the game, but I played the crap out of that one.
Base Wars? Base
No.
Wars? Was that Base Wars? I know exactly what game you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember the 1983 video game Baseball for Nintendo.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it was
that
called
one.
Base Wars.
Was it Base Wars?
Yeah. Cyber Stadium Series Base Wars.
It might have been.
Looking at a picture of it.
I looked up all the baseball games for Nintendo. They don't even have that one listed.
Just look. I looked up Robot Baseball NES, and that was the one that came up. Base Wars.
Might have been. Let me see here. No, that's not it. It's not the one I was thinking of.
The only one I see.
It may not have been robots. It might have been something else,
is
but
it
you had
this
like
one?
anyway.
Super Baseball 2020 was also a robot one, but that was
All I remember is
that
like
was
picking
a-
the different pitches based on like the weirdness of them to win those games against my opponents, and I don't remember what it was called, but I played the snot out of it. I'll think about it some other time. You guys want to go into the video game awards really quick before we wrap up this episode?
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't do those first.
We were already talking about Nintendo, so
I rolled with
might as well
it.
stick into it. Yeah, we just rolled with it.
roll with
So-
it, roll with
They
it.
came out this week.
Yep.
And I didn't really pay too much attention to it till after the fact. But I gotta say though, one of the things that the thing I was most excited about the Video Game Awards was they had the first actual preview of Borderlands 4.
Yeah, I saw that. I did watch that. They had a lot of really good reveals. Like they revealed a new standalone Elden Ring game, which looks really, really good.
That's the
Gosh,
thing about the Video
there's
Game
a bunch
Awards.
of
It's
them.
about all the previews of the new games, not the awards themselves. Who cares about that?
I mean, I kind of care. Like,
The video game awards have pretty much become the new E3.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
funny
much.
because one of the awards on this list you put that you're a little surprised about, and I don't know how you're surprised by that. That's literally the most anticipated game of the decade. So, like, I don't know how you're surprised by that.
because there's other really, really good games coming out next year that I think could be contenders for that.
Yeah, but people have been waiting for GTA 6 since GTA 5 came out.
Yeah, the most GTA 6 has been the most anticipated game literally since it people
And I
knew
said
that
a
they were
little
gonna make
surprised,
it.
not fully surprised. But yeah, the most anticipated game went to GTA 5 or 6. I mean, the Game of the Year award went to this one was weird to me, Astrobot.
That actually does not surprise me because I have heard absolutely nothing but rave reviews about Astrobot. And I know the Astro's Playground and the other Astro, the 3D or the VR one were amazing games. So
Yeah, I played the VR one. It was a lot of fun. I never beat it, but I had a lot of fun with it. But it just seems, I don't know, just odd to me because there's many other games I think could have been strong contenders that came out last year.
Astrobot kind of reminds me of like PlayStation's version of Super Mario Brothers or Mario game, you know?
Yeah. I think
It's like they have one with
2024
every
was not a great release year.
Mm-mm.
2023
Yeah, I mean,
was.
they have good ones.
2025 is going to be amazing.
It's kind of hard to like the model that games are doing nowadays. It's like, for instance, like PoE 2. Where are you going to put that? Because it released this year, kind of, but
Yeah.
it doesn't release. It's only the early release. It's
Yeah, they
not
don't do the early
actual
release on
release.
these any
Like,
awards.
Enshrouded and games like that, like those games are going to be huge when they fully release, I guess. But they're also really great games now, and it's like, I don't know,
Yeah,
this
they
early
won't
release
put
thing's
unfinished
messing everything
games in
up.
awards. That's just one of those rules. So when they do finish them, though, that's when they become contenders, depending on their
Yep.
popularity at the time.
They won't put unfinished games in the awards, but yet Diablo 4 was nominated for a lot of games.
Ching. No, they said that was finished.
Yeah, they should have just said, "Oh yeah, guys, by the way, this is just early release," and then like people would have forgiven them.
Player's Choice Award went to Black Myth.
Black Myth Wukong,
Yeah, never played it, but I heard all the hype about it.
same. I've heard really really good things about that game too. I kind of want to play it. It's another one that, from what I heard, is very Souls-like very unforgiving.
I've had no interest in actually playing it.
I do.
It's just not my style, really. Fallout won Best Adaptation to Film. There's no surprise there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for
I would
sure.
say it's probably one of the
What?
best ever made.
Hold on a second. You mean Borderlands didn't win that? Come on now.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
yeah, for obvious reason.
Borderlands is the best movie ever. I don't know what you're talking about, guys.
Borderlands, some of the best games, some of the worst movies.
But we all know that next year that award is going to be won by Minecraft.
We'll have to see about that. I
We'll
gotta
have to
admit, the
see.
new trailer actually really amused me.
It did.
It did. It did. That's what I'm so torn because it looks so terrible, but yet the trailers make it look so good. Like, I don't know. Ugh.
We'll see.
Best sports
best
game went to.
FC25, huh?
I didn't even know what
Soccer
that
game.
was until I looked it up. Yeah, soccer.
Well,
Soccer game that no one cares about. Who
I
plays
guess
soccer?
they must have lost the license to FIFA or something because it used to be FIFA.
I don't understand how that
yeah, I
new
know that.
college football game came out and that didn't win. Because, like, that was hyped.
Because it's the same format that EA Sports has done over and over again with Madden, just with college players.
Right. So everyone should love it.
Everybody hates Madden at the moment because they keep screwing it up.
Well,
Yeah, I had fun playing Madden recently.
Yeah.
Madden's one of those games that I can play, but it's not one that I'm like, man, I can't wait to get home to play Madden.
I need to find
my-
a really good golf game. It seems
My
to be
last-
really hard to come by.
My last Madden season was the Bills versus the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, and it took me overtime to win it.
The last really good golf game that I played was Tiger Woods 2008.
Yeah, that was the one on GameCube, right?
No, it was on PS2, I think.
Because they had that same version on GameCube, and me and my dad played it because it's the only golf game I ever played where you could both have a season together in the same season and both get,
Yeah.
all the stuff
You
in
could do that.
competition. And the whole heartbeat getting close was awesome. I'm playing PGA Tour right now, and they have the heartbeat if you make it on like a chip in shot or hole out from way out in the distance, and it's okay.
Here's my issue with sports games these days, and 2K Sports has pretty much gone back to it with their basketball game. But sports games have gotten away from the presentation of the game. That's what made NFL 2K5 one of the best games. It's what made PGA 2006 a really good game. That's what makes MLB The Show a good game, is because they care about the presentation and give you good gameplay, but they give you the halftime show. They give you the intro, stuff like that. I wish more sports games would go back to that.
I missed the ages of NHL Hits, NFL Blitz, the arcadey style.
Oh yeah, but NFL, you won't see them license those games anymore because of their let's go safe aspect.
Mm-hmm.
The only NHL game I ever played was NHL 94 on Sega, and it was phenomenal.
NHL
Yeah, I
Hits
love that.
was amazing because you could have two of your buddies with you in the same room and make your own team and actually put that team in the NHL. And it was a 3-on-3, and it was so much fun. That's what made that game so much fun. And checking people through glass all the time. It was great.
NFL Blitz was great because you could do all body slam the players, watch broken bone animations.
Jeez.
What? We're violent. What do you expect?
It was fun.
Leave it to Rook to bring the sunshine again. Oh,
All right, guys. And that's going to go ahead and wrap up our show tonight. Unless you guys have anything else you want to bring up.
no. I'm
All
I
right.
good.
like turtles.
We apologize
I lo-
for some of the roboting that occurred. I'm going to edit out as much as I can, but there's going to be a little bit here and there. We had some network issues with Discord earlier. But if you want to reach out to the show to advertise or any kind of business relations, please email us through podcastraw, PODCASTSRAW @gmail.com. Another great way to get a hold of us and everyone else in the community is discord.gg/raw podcast. That's our Discord channel. Check it out. Join in the fun. Our Facebook is Raw Podcasts. Our X is @PodcastRaw. Our Instagram,
Raw Podcast 1.
you can follow us individually as well. I am @TheWidget, TheWigit, everywhere.
You can follow me at some variation of either Tomcat213 or Rook213.
And you can follow me on social media as the Archon606 or on video game platforms as Quick, QWICK_D_606.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We will talk to you all next year.
Y'all stay nerdy now. You hear?
Have a great rest of the year. Have happy holidays, everyone.